Orisa were making her way home, back home. Her entire world were destroyed by a simple earthquake. Everything was in ruin. Her great city, her home city, was all destroyed. During her walk through town from time to time, she saw an arm, leg, or head popping out through the ground, with the rest of the body still beneath. They were all dead. It was really a dangerous demonstration of what a simple natural disaster can do. The city's surviving population was screaming and shouting, running around from corner to corner and trying to dig up whoever remained below. But Orisa didn't have any time for any of that. She wanted to get back home as fast as she could. She wanted to see if her family was still alive. Her mother and father, little brother, and older sister too. But also she wanted to help this little child she carried with her. During the quake, she had stumbled upon a little baby, and next to that baby she had found a dead corpse, an arm sticking up through the ground. And most likely that dead body was the father or mother to this little baby. So Orisa were trying to do the right thing with this baby. She had picked it up from the street and carried it with her, trying to take it to a safe place, like the temple or the orphanage. But those places were also just in rubble, destroyed by this earthquake. So until she found a better alternative, she was going to look after this little baby herself. But hopefully, her mother, her own mother, was going to be the better alternative. But Orisa were starting to fear the worst. Her parents were old people, and in most likelihood, during the start of the quake, they had been inside their own house. And Orisa's fears became quite confirmed, because when she came home to her house, it was just one big pile of rubble. Everything was quite destroyed. The baby was crying, and inside her own mind, Orisa were falling tears herself. She did not see any bodies, nor did she see her family members walking around anywhere. Most likely, if they were alive, they would be here. And most likely, if they were dead, they would be here too. Every living being around Orissa's viewpoint were digging in the ground, trying to find survivors or people to bury. And probably that's what Orisa should be doing herself, trying to rescue her family or giving them a proper burial. But she remained paralyzed and just stood there doing nothing, observing the situation and remaining still. But then she heard the baby cry, and she shook off this paralyzation, moved the baby toward her eyes and glared into it, and she realized that she needed to do something. Standing here wouldn't accomplish anything, and it was a bit dangerous. They needed shelter, food, but she also needed to figure out what to do with her family home and potentially dead family members. She speculated that trying to dig them up would take forever, and for someone like her alone, a little bit more. But she wasn't entirely helpless. Orisa had other talents. She actually was a fortune teller, someone who saw into the future, and someone who saw what other people didn't see. So she squatted down to the ground and threw out her big mat, and then sat on it and put the baby in the middle. The baby wasn't going to be part of any of the form of the ritual, but she needed to have it somewhere close that she could see it. And then she placed her stones, objects, and runes, and feathers, and things on the mat, and tried to see the future. She shaked and shambled, and pushed and blew the wind, and then looked at the signs. And then inside her mind she created a small, tiny question, and she pushed that question out of the cosmos, out through her minds, and deep into the objects, and she was going to see a yes or a no from the objects. This was actually a quite simple technique, a small fortune-telling technique she had learned from a previous master. It was easy to do and didn't take that much amount of time, which was perfect for all Orisa's customers. So for each family member she asked the question, were they alive? And for her father it was a no. For her mother it was a no. For her older sister it was a no, but for her younger brother there was a yes. He was actually somewhere alive.